Hello everybody, it's Wendy, and today we are going to make one of the easiest necklaces that you have ever made. Yes, I mean that. First of all, our encouraging word for today is surround yourself with cupcakes, not negativity. I do love this one. I cannot say it's good advice to surround yourself with cupcakes because I've had way too many cupcakes in my time and it has not played well for me, but you definitely don't want to surround yourself with negativity. So maybe find something like a good positive friend or something like that. Maybe not cupcakes. You can have some cupcakes though. I mean, what would the world be without cupcakes, right? All right, so today we are going to make a necklace, the easiest necklace ever, using Jesse James Beads' new color trends. Okay, so these, oh my goodness, they are so pretty. Okay, so these are actually color classics. I don't know why I called them color trends, but color classic strands, and they are so beautiful. Let me move some of this because the sparkle in these is making my camera have trouble focusing. Okay, so here they are. This one is the pastel mint, and we're going to be using this today. Look at this. I mean, these are so beautiful. You almost don't even have to do anything to them. Like, you could string this just like this with no problem. I think it is so pretty. So we've got the pastel mint. There is the pastel peach. Look at that. Just gorgeous. The sparkle is just amazing. Pastel violet. Pastel skylark. I love this one too. This one is so pretty. They're all so pretty, but I really do like this one a lot. And pastel pink. So absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous beads. Today we're going to be using the pastel mint. Now let me show you something. So they have this new ombre chain out, which I adore this as well. Look how pretty this chain looks. So this is the ombre chain. It's just absolutely gorgeous. You could put this with the pastel peach or the pastel pink, and look how pretty that is together. It's beautiful. There is also this ombre chain, which this is all I have left of the one that I had. So we made another necklace with it. That's why I only have this much left. But we're going to use it with this strand. Look how pretty it looks with this strand. It's just gorgeous with that. So we're going to be using that. We're going to be using this pendant. This is from Jesse James Beads. I don't know if they still have this pendant or not, but it is just, you could use any focal pendant that you have. I just have this one and like the way it looks with this, so we're going to use it. And this is some chain reaction. Now they have had their chain reaction on sale in bundles, which is a really great deal. And so this is one of the chain reaction strands. And I chose this, I debated between this one and this one, because this one obviously has the teal beads, but I kind of like this one better with it, just because I feel like it picks up these silvers in here. And, I mean, they both look really good. You could use either one, but I like this one best, I think, just because it picks up some of these more subtle tones in here, and the chain picks up the more greens and blues. So we're going to go with this. So you're going to need some chain. I like the chain reaction because it's already got beads on it, so it looks like you did a whole bunch of work. You're going to need a strand of beads, and you're going to, if you want to make the same one as me, you're going to need this chevron chain, which they do currently have on their website, and then a pendant of your choice, a lobster clasp and a ring for your lobster to clasp to, and some smaller jump rings. These are 6mm little jump rings. We'll be using those. Hopefully they'll fit through the chain, this chain. If they don't, I may have to dig out some thinner ones, but we're going to try these. Okay, so get your stuff together and let's get going. This is so simple. Oh, and you're going to need some bead stringing wire and some crimps. Okay, yeah, I just left out like half the important stuff. Okay, so you're going to need some bead stringing wire. I've got 7-strand bead stringing wire. I have got size 2 crimp tubes. Okay, and as you notice, I'm mixing metals here because they've mixed metals, the gold and the silver, and I think it's beautiful together. So we're going to mix metals as well. And do I want to use wire guardians? I do. I think. which probably, I definitely do want to use wire guardians. Let me pull them out. And you're going to need 2 wire guardians. Where are my wire guardians? Yeah, oh, there they are. Okay, goodness. Yeah, couldn't find them. Let's do gold. So, tools-wise, you're going to need your round nose pliers, your chain nose pliers, your crimpers, your cutters, and that's probably it. Okay, so this is so easy. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a length of my bead stringing wire here. This is a satin silver 7-strand. A lot of people ask me, why do you use 7-strand for one thing? You know, I'm not real, the way I look at this is all the bead stringing wire is very, very strong, okay? You've got 7 strands of wire braided together here and coated with a nylon coating. So it's very strong. You know, I don't think any necklace is really going to break if it has that, unless you would just jerk it super hard. So for heavier beads, maybe the bigger, you know, the 19 strand or 49 strand or something like that. But honestly, I do most everything with 7 strand and I have never had a problem. So, you know, it's just kind of your own personal preference, but that's the way I feel about it. Okay, so we're going to cut this loose from its little thing here. I'm just going to cut it loose. And I am going to slide it off carefully because I want to keep it in the order that it's in. Okay, so I like this. I think this is very pretty. And what I'm going to do is use my chain here on either side. So we're going to go one side with this chain and one side with this chain. And then we're going to use some of this other chain reaction at the top. Now, my my conundrum here, I guess you would say, is that I want to hang this pendant, but I need to turn this bead sideways and possibly add a bead on top of it. So I'm going to need, number 1, an eye pin. Let me pull that out. Or a head pin, actually. No, an eye pin. We're going to need an eye pin. Yeah. Just cut my finger on something. Oh my goodness, look at that. Ah, what was that? A little piece of glass. Good grief. Okay, hold on. Let me grab the eye pin. No, I'm holding my finger up here. I don't bleed all over my bead mat. Okay, and I'm going to run and get a Band-Aid. I'll be right back. Okay, so there's my bandaged finger. Beading can be hazardous, obviously. All right, so I need a little bead to go on top of, well, not a little bead, a kind of bigger bead to go on top of this. And you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to cut apart my Jesse James, or take this thing off anyway, not cut it apart, but take the thing off. And this chain reaction. So it's hooked together right here with a split ring. And look what's on the very end of the split ring. A fine little bead on the very end of this chain. So if I cut this bead off, just like this, then that is going to be the perfect little bead to put on top of this bead. Well, if I could pick it up, my bandaged fingers making it hard. And then I might want to put one underneath too, because this is a large hole bead. And yeah, we definitely need to put one underneath too. So I'm going to come on down here. Do I want to use the same bead or do I want to pull one of these guys out? I think I'm going to pull one of these little guys out, maybe this one, and put it there. Or I kind of like this too with this, because it's a little more the shade of the pendant. Yeah, let's do that. That looks really good. Okay, so here's what we've got. Now we have our chain reaction, and I'm going to use it on the ends up here if this chain isn't long enough, which I know it isn't. So first of all, let's make our little pendant. This is super simple and quick. So let's take our eye pin and we're going to just hang this little pendant directly on here. Which side do I like this side better, I think. It's got a little more of the blues and the greens. Okay, we're just going to close that up. Now, we're going to put our 3 beads on here. So there's that one, this one, and this one. Just like that. Look how pretty. And we're just going to make a loop. So I bend this 90 degrees, just like this. I cut off, my rule of thumb, no pun intended, is like right at my finger's width. Okay, because that makes a loop that's not huge, but not too small. Okay, and we're just going to roll it back with our round nose plier. There we have it. See, that's a decent sized loop, but not teeny weeny. Okay, so there's our pendant. So now all we're going to do is we're going to string this on. Whoops, that's not the right piece. We're going to string this on this bead stringing wire. And I've got my wire guardian. So this chain, the thing with this ombre chain or the chevron chain that you have to look at, if you can see that little, that should be a full loop. But where I have used this and cut it in other things, it's not a full loop. We need a full loop to hook onto, obviously. So what you have to do is you have to look at this chain and, whoops, I need my cutters. Right here, I can cut this little, there's a hole there. There's a hole that loop hooks into, okay? And you just have to very carefully snip that. Now I have my full little loop that I can hook onto. So I need to make sure that both sides have the complete loop. This side doesn't either. So I need to do the same thing. I need to trim off that little piece and get that loop right. Okay, so there they are. So now they both have the correct loop, but my wire guardian is way too big to fit through that loop. So we're going to have to hook to a jump ring on both sides, crimp to a jump ring, and then hook it onto our thing there, our chain. So I might as well go ahead and put this on the chain, I guess. Let me see if this will fit through. These loops in these chains are so teeny that I may have to get a smaller jump ring, but we'll see if it'll go through. This jump ring, these jump rings are just a tad thick. Even though they're small, they're thick. Yeah, they're too big. So let me pull out a smaller jump ring, or thinner jump ring, I should say, which will translate into smaller probably. Those don't look any different. Those are the same. These are tiny. Yeah, this will probably work. Let's try it. These are some little ones, like 3 millimeter maybe, but they are thinner. Okay, I think this will probably work to go through there. Yeah, you need a fairly thin jump ring. There, yeah, that one works. Okay, so we're gonna hook that on there and close it up. And you gotta make sure these are closed really well. All right. Is it closed up good? Because believe me, if it can come out, it will. It's the nature of this situation here. It's the weirdest thing. It seems like they always come loose. Like if you're out somewhere and your necklace or your bracelet or whatever, something comes loose on it, it came loose, but you can never seem to get it back together unless you have your tools. So it's like, okay, you had enough space in there. I didn't close you well enough and you came open. Why can't I get this back together? So, you know, that's just the way it always goes. Okay. I know that probably made no sense whatsoever, but it did to me. All right, so there we have it. So now we're going to crimp, and we're going to crimp directly onto these jump rings on either side. So you're just going to take your crimp bead or crimp tube, whichever you've got there, put it on your wire, and take your wire guardian and put it on your wire. Get in there now. Okay. And we're going to come up and over on our wire guard. Oops. down in there. Okay, and we're going back through the crimp bead, but I'm going to pull this up a little. I don't really need that much room. There we go. So once you get it around on your wire guardian, go back through your crimp tube or crimp bead, and I'm going to show you what you should have. You should have this, just like this. Okay, you want to scoot that wire guardian up so it's not, but you'll have to do that here in a second at the end. Now, make sure that your wires are not crossed, that they're just laying here side by side, and just hold it with your finger. And then we're going to take our crimpers. We are going to lay the crimp in this back divot. Now see how that is looped up there a little bit? See how the wire is looped up above the wire guardian? What I do is I grab this with my crimpers and pull it up, the crimp bead. I've got it. I'm not pressing down to crimp it yet. I'm just pulling it up to where that loop, I'm trying to get the camera to focus. There we go. That loop is down onto the wire guard. And then I'm just going to press down. Okay? And there we have it. What that does is that collapses the crimp tube in the middle and puts each chain in its own little, or each piece of the wire in its own little divot. Then I turn this 90 degrees and I close it right up in one of these little, I usually use the second one. I don't know why, I just always do. So there's our little crimp, okay? Now you can use a crimp bead cover if you want. And I could have crimped this directly onto this jump ring, but instead of having to reopen the jump ring, which would have made sense, but I was trying to get the wire guard, the wire to lay down in the wire guard, and it would have been a little harder to do it if I was trying to crimp onto this. So let's just open this back up, put this right through it, and close it. And we have one side of our stringing wire attached to our chain, our ombre chain. Okay. So now I'm just going to string this bad boy up, literally, pretty much just like it was. I know I've knocked the beads around a little bit, so it's going to be kind of a random thing, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to do, let's see, let's do those two. Let's do this gold spacer. And I love these strands. I mean, they're just so pretty, and they're already strung up so pretty. So really, if you just put them on the way they are on your strand already, they're beautiful. So we're doing that. Then we'll do this gold spacer. This big silver, this guy, this silver, this gold, these four. And I kind of like this look of blocking. It's kind of what it's called. So you're blocking groups of beads together instead of mixing everything. You've got a block of these little rondelles, and you've got a block of, you know, something else. Now at the top, I'm just going to make sure my tail's tucked in there. Pull that up. But it's just another style, you know, just another design element, the blocking. I'm going to put this one on, this guy. Then we're going to hang our pendant. This guy. Yeah, this is really pretty. So sparkly and beautiful. Jessie James Beads is just fantastic with the sparkle, I gotta say. String this one on. And then let's see, let's do this one. These three. 1, 2, 3. This one. Actually, I'm going to do, yeah, I want to do this one first because I kind of like the way this bead is shaped here. It's got a little, it's poked out almost like a little bicone sort of, and it'll fit inside that rondelle and look good. Okay, I'm gonna put this bead on, this bead. These are so, so pretty, these strands. I love the way they mix metals too. I like to mix metals, and I just think it makes things look really cool. And then we're going to do these 4 fire polish. These are beautiful. And then we're going to crimp right onto, let's see if we can crimp right onto the jump ring. Okay, so here's what we've got. Now, when you do this other crimp, you just want to make sure that you pick this up, let gravity do the work so that, you know, there's no gaps in between your beads. And then we're going to put our crimp tube on, our wire guard. So go up and over, down the other side. Okay, and right through our jump ring. Just take it right up onto the wire guard like that. And then we're going to come right back down through our crimp bead. And I go through a couple of the beads. Just like this. And we'll take it, pull it out right here. And pull everything tight. Now, you want this to have movement, so just be careful when you pull everything tight that you don't pull too tight. I mean, you don't want gaps in your beads, obviously, but you also don't want, you know, this to be so poker straight that it has no flexibility, okay? I say that in every video, but it's just the way that it's important, I think. So we're going to take this, we're going to press it down. And on this end, it's kind of hard to make sure that your wires aren't crossed. Just do the best you can. I mean, it's not life or death, but, you know. And I like to take my wire guard and bend it in just a little, just so it kind of touches itself almost on the bottom. It's just a thing I like to do. So here we have this. I need to trim this piece off. Okay. And here's what we've got. Now you need to hold it up to yourself and decide how long you want it to be. I'm not going to add a whole bunch more chain. This is pretty much, you know, the length that I like. Let me measure it and tell you how long it is, because I did not measure those pieces of chain. My pieces of chain ended up being almost 5.5 inches. Okay, so from right now what I've got from the tip of my pendant to the end of the chain is right about 11.5 inches. So I'm just going to add a couple inches of this just to have it on there, because I want to kind of draw this down. Now what you can do, okay, so you need to look at this end now of your chain, and you need for this hole to be whole. So that hole right there, you need something to hook into. So what I'm going to have to do on this end, because that hole is cut, I'm going to have to take this and cut this piece off. And you do this carefully, because you don't want to cut the hole that this little loop is going into, okay? So just, it's kind of fiddly in there, but just try to just get in there and not cut the hole that goes into. It is possible, because I've done it with several. If you have a more precision tipped cutter, I don't have the best cutters. I really need to get some new cutters, but again, I must be really hard on my cutters because they're always dull. Okay, so that cut that loop, and still a piece of the loop is on there, so I'm going to try to get that off. But that cut the loop and not the hole. Let me see if I can just grab it with my crimpers. No, it is still connected there, so it's going to have to be cut. Alright, let me see. These are my newest cutters, but they're not all that great either, really. They might be better than those, though. Somebody said you could cut aluminum foil and that would sharpen them, and I've tried that and it didn't work, so I don't know. it works for you, then tell me what I'm doing wrong, because I've tried it and it didn't work. Okay, there we go. So I think that I got that little piece off. Nope, it's still there. Let me see. And that's all, you know, you just got to make sure that you get this little loop out of here, this little piece off, because if you don't, then your jump ring's not going to fit through there. Man, this is usually not this difficult for me, but I'm on live video, so let's be difficult, right? Okay, there we go. That may have got it. It is a very tiny little section that you're dealing with here, so you just have to kind of work it and be patient until you get it off of there. I love, love, love this chain. It is so pretty. And it's so versatile. It's just really fun to work with, but it is a little fiddly if you have to cut these pieces. Okay, let me see if that got it. Nope. And I'm telling you, this normally is not this hard. Let's do the other side. Yes, the other side has to be cut as well. It's probably because I did it with those bad cutters first. I should have used these. Yeah, see, this side's going to be much easier. I didn't do that over here. So now I got this little piece on here that's being very difficult to get off. There, I think I got it. I may have to go down a link if it doesn't come off this time. I think I got it though. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so pull that out of there. Did I get it? Yeah, I did. Okay. Whew, that was hard. Okay, normally it's not that hard. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to find a piece here of my chain reaction. So the great thing about this is you can cut this stuff apart and then rejoin it. Or you can just open, like there's a little oval jump ring right here. And I want this bead to be on the bottom because, and this is a tiny little oval jump ring. So let me see if this is an open oval jump ring or not. No, it is a closed ring. So I'm going to have to cut that little oval jump ring because it's closed. Okay, so I cut that, and now I'm going to use one of my small jump rings to put this onto this. So this is, the stringing up part of this is super simple because you just basically leave the beads like they're on the wire. And then, you know, this part goes smoother if you have sharp cutters. So just keep that in mind. So we're going to put this and just close it right up. There we go. And like I said, I'm just going to use a couple of inches of this. So I'll probably go up to this bead right here. Cut that right above it. And we'll do the same thing over here that we just did over there. And this chain is so nice. You can just really take it apart. You can put it back together in places. You can, it's very versatile. Okay, we're just going to string or put this one on here. Close it right up. There we go. And then I'm going to cut this one as well right above here. Okay. So here we have it. It's very pretty. Okay, so here's what we got. Now we just need to put our lobster on. I've got a big ring for my lobster to clasp onto, which I should have no problem getting through that loop on that bead. That connection there. So just like this. You could put an extender on here if you wanted. You don't have to. And then I'll use one of these little guys to put my lobster on with. Just right on here. Put my lobster on. And close it right up. And here we have a beautiful little necklace, which was very simple other than the fact that I had to finagle around with the chain, which, you know, shouldn't have been that hard. I made it harder than it was, but wow, what a pretty little necklace this is. So I'm going to put this on a form over here, and I will be right back to show it to you. Okay, so here it is finished, and I think it's beautiful. I wanted to mention, I had somebody in one of the comments the other day say, so many times you say you're going to put it on a form and then you don't. And I don't know what they mean, because every time that I finish a video, I come over here and I put it on this. This is what I'm calling a form. So if that's not your definition of a form, then it's just a, you know, a mix-up of words, but this is what I mean when I say I'm putting it on a form. So I do that pretty much every time. So I don't know what they were talking about. But anyway, here it is. It's beautiful. This pendant is so pretty, and these beads are just gorgeous. Jesse James Beads is amazing at making gorgeous beads. So I will link their website in the description box below this video, and you all can check them out, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.